So we got a root pass either side. I got it real tight because I wanted it way down in there, right? And then we've got our top little piece. I beveled the edges, right, to try to get a little better bead in there. I'm not gonna bevel this outer piece because I want to have a little more beef to drive it into. Hey, what's up, YouTube? So today we got some new shocks going in on this Chevy Tufho. I got to cut this zip tie here so we can lift up this inner skirt, keep the mud out, right? So we're gonna cut that baby. Can't use my left hand here. Alright, so I just welded this mount to the frame. But anyway, we'll unbolt that. Unbolt that. Shazam, wham, bam. So what was wrong with these? Nothing really. I mean, they do come back, they do their job, but these are like a heavy duty. I wanted something that has more adjustability. So what I want to show here is these different bushings. So first I wanted to run that one. Obviously it's got some slot to it. Oh, come on back now here. Then we got this one. Let's see if this is any better. There we go. Winter chicken dinner. Yeah, it's cold. Battery's low. Got it. Now the top hole goes on that, which is welded in the truck. And then this bottom one is the one that needs this bushing. So put a little bit of some kind of grease rather than an oil or a penetrant, because that'll eat the rubber. So get you some kind of grease and slide it in. Okay, with these shocks being longer, yeah, lighting's terrible. Need to get this off. I got a bracket that I built, but first we got to take the line off, cut this bolt out, clean everything up. I pulled the skirt back just to there because I don't think I'm going to go really any farther. I'm going to probably just run it flush to right here, the plating, and then I'll be able to put my shock mount right here where I want. Alright, now we got the tire off. Got the brake line kind of bent out of the way. If I snap it, oh well, because it's the one that I had compression fitting on there. So we're gonna put the plate on there. So I'm thinking probably all along here, up, and then back. Probably square it off right with this here. So I gotta get this plasma, cut that out of there, plate it, and then I got this fancy little bracket that I made. I was gonna do it right on the frame, like that, for the shock. Why is this twisted? Well, I tried to match the angle of that way nothing binds. But shoot. Anyway, I need to come out to get a better angle on it, if you can see from there. So I gotta bring this out a bit. So you can see the old brackets from the old upper control arms that were cut off to do solid axle conversion. I could take more off, but I'd rather leave it than, you know, have less material. So what I came up with, piece of cardboard, It's taped two together because the thing wasn't long enough. But this is what I'm thinking. We still got to clean out that corner and that corner there. But let's see. Something about like so. Nice edge on the top to be able to weld to. And then the front, I'd like it to come kind of on an angle like this, but nah, whatever. We'll add a little triangular piece if we ever, probably, no we won't. This is gonna be way more strong than it ever was, so this will be perfect. So if you want steel, this is a 3/16. Actually got a cool little tool here. A little gauge off of Amazon. But you just take it. 3/16. A pretty quick little keychain. I don't leave it on my keychain because it's kind of heavy, but definitely handy. And then I also use these plasma cutter glasses. Same thing, Amazon. So we'll cut that out. And I have no affiliation with Amazon. It's just where I get my stuff. But we'll cut this out and get back at you. So, got my K5 blazer here. And this one, the same setup. So we use the old T5000D. I've had her for, I don't know, probably 3 years at least now. And, you know, made pretty clean work of everything. But like I said, now I gotta clean this up a little bit more since I'm gonna be welding this way. And that corner needs to be cleared out. I'd like to have some weld through primer, but I don't. So I'm just gonna do the right thing and probably not do anything. But yeah, no, it'll be all right. Now we'll probably paint it. And I'll clean up the edges of the plate, you know, and weld it on. It might burn a little bit, but at least there's something on it. Now this bracket I made up yesterday. Just had some junk laying around that just so happened to be 1.5 inches wide. So I mocked them up in between there. That way I could keep that space. And then obviously the angles, to try to keep the same angle as down on the axle. But to space it out, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to weld it. Obviously I've cut that excess off. Obviously it won't be that long either, but that way I can get my spaced out. But it should be still more than enough strong being that square, so we'll see. But that is the plan with that. And then over to here. Why did I go this long? Well, it's because I'm a cheap SOB. And that's how long that is. So close enough, right? So we're going to mark it, cut it out, and we can, I'll make two. One for the other side. And if it's a little different, then I'll modify it. But this should be good. Alright, it's going fast. So, I got another piece made for this other side. I'm going to start building that next because we got these pieces, one for each side. I'm only doing one at the moment, but I might as well use a pattern. Yeah, you know, the plasma cutting freehand's not the greatest, but you know, some of these others, they turned out alright. So anyway, we're going to just kind of round everything off a little bit. It's not rocket science. It doesn't have to be, you're going to weld it, you know. You'll never see if it's a little bit. So anyway, we need to take this piece, start with that, and we got to get the inner piece welded in, and then I welded the back side of it too, right? So get that one in, then I can get my little spacer in for this one, the other outer, and then put my little flat top, that tiny little piece, and then drill the hole. Wham bam. But I gotta remember to flip it when I build it, because obviously it goes on the other side. Alright, now we got both plates cut, prepped. Got a little bit of gouged in, just a little bit, you know, straighten them up pretty good. Not too shabby. But anyway, we got both sides. I'm probably just going to paint these so they don't start to rust. And then when I go to weld them in, I'll just go grind around the edge, clean up around the edge. Same thing on the frame, and then weld it in. Okay, it's coming together pretty good. Looks like I've got to clean back there just a little bit more. So I just got to pat that a little bit. But yeah, that should be pretty sweet. Alright, so we got around the edges cleaned up pretty good. Looks like there's still some crap in there. We'll be welding down here, so I'm not too worried about that. But we're cleaned up all the way around. I just got to get the dust cleaned up off of that. And then here's the plate. I set it in that grease on the end, of course. So I have to clean that up. But anyway, yeah, it's not straight X, but I don't care. I just didn't want it to hit that hole. So anyway, that'll give a little bit of stick in the middle there. So I'm gonna remove the paint where the X is gonna hit and weld her up. All right, so now we got the acetone and a rag to go all around where we're gonna do all the welding. And look at, I'm in the gravel. So what do you expect for out in the gravel? You know, this plate is gonna be plenty strong, even no matter how my welds turn out. So anywho, I'll check it out here in a minute and see how she looks. Okay, we got her cleaned up, painted on the back side, clamped up. I even put a beveled the edge, gave her like a 45, and we'll just do probably a couple passes, do a root pass, and then do another purtier up pass. But that should strengthen that pretty good, and then our shock mount should be somewhere in there. One other tip before I get welding: it is cold. The snow's a-flying. Can't really see. You probably think I'm lying. But anyway, so we're gonna take the plate, heat it up real good, and then weld it. And another tip, probably should move that. All right, it is too cold for that baby. It's gonna take forever. So we're gonna use my little buddy heater, and we're gonna watch the rubber. We're gonna set it on up in there and move the light, let her toast up a bit first. I started trucking right along pretty decent. Start and stop, you know, whatever. So anywho, I'm gonna put a little bit more in there, like as a root, clean her back up. And it's all marked up, little spots like that from my little air needler. If you don't have one of these, you should get one. Got a couple of our main pieces cleaned up here. So the idea, we're going to try to match this angle. How do I do it? Well, nothing fancy. I just need it to go the other way. So I'm going to kind of line this up. Right, put this on the edge, get this angle just right. Let me see if I can do this one-handed. Look at this. So nothing super fancy. I'm gonna actually do it not on this wood. I'm gonna set it up there when I do this. But I'll get my angle eyeballed about like yay. Give her a couple of tickety-tacks. And then again, same thing over here. I'm gonna use this rusty piece to go in between for my 1.5-inch gap and be home free. So, but what I use here are these wheels, man. Let me tell you, it makes quick work of this. So if you want to check out the wheels, I'll have a link in the description below. Alright, so we got this one welded, but you can see the heat pulled this end up just a touch. So I'll probably, it's very minuscule and it almost looks pretty good, but we'll get her a little closer, tack the other one up and keep on going. So I use flux core wire because I'm too cheap to buy gas. Yeah, I got a couple of not quite dimes there, you know, but for, you know, snow, freezing cold, probably should have warmed it up first. But anywho, we're gonna put another bead along the back side. I'll worry about that later, but we're gonna get this next piece in. Like I said, we'll, you know, put us a little spacer like that. Last time I just tacked it. You can see the tack. I just tacked it in there so it wouldn't move. We're not, you know, rocket science here, so it's just a toy truck, so we ain't trying to get too crazy with it. So we got a little teeny tiny tack on that rusty. Yeah, I left it rusty so that way it didn't stick very good. Got a magnet kind of holding it. Got our one little tack, and we got our 1.5 inch. Not too shabby for eyeballing. And I got a square on here. Looks like she pulled a little bit, so we'll have to give her a tap, tap, tap down just a touch before we weld this end. So now, I'm not gonna knock this out just yet, but we got her tacked here, tacked there. Let's see how the square ended up. Oh, look at that money. All I have to do is just pull it just a little bit, push, give her a little tack. So everything looks pretty square for what I'm looking for. Even the top was nice and flush. So I think this side I got to trim down just a little bit, but we'll worry about that after we get it more welded. I'm going to weld this side up pretty good. We'll get the end plate or the top on, and probably, yeah, the end plate, duh, and then I can bust that out and then put the top plate and drill the hole. Okay, so we got decent welds and decent not too shabby. My machine's not quite running the greatest, but so we got that bead in there we got to break. Yes, and we got that out. What the? Why'd you shouldn't have cut it? You should have cut it first. Well, I'll worry about that later. Oh, that's pretty hot. It's hot. Yeah, she's not pretty, but you know, neither's your old lady, but we still keep her around, right? So anyway, a little bit of splatter here. I'm actually going to grind them down kind of flat, just on this back side, and get rid of some of that spatter. But now we got the bracket for the other side made. Got this all plated, ready to go. But now I had to check and make sure I've got the axle. Got a jack stand under it on the axle there. Ow. Then we got a high lift jack extending the suspension all the way. So now that I know this is at full droop, so I'm just gonna set up just underneath of that, and then compression will be good on compression for sure. All right, so looks like final product. I needed to space it out, so I spaced it out, cut that extra edge off right there. So maybe cap the top. Had to grind this side flush, this side against the frame, and then I did a double pass Yeah, it's not the prettiest, but I had to do 2 passes. This one turned out quite nice. So we got our holes drilled. Alright, I'm gonna have to wrap up here for today. So I got this in real loose. We're all lined up, sitting pretty nice. It's not, I didn't put a level on it, but here is a level. I've got her leaning back just a little bit, just to try to give any clearance. I drilled this hole, not all the way through, just through this plate, and then I drilled and tapped this one with a M8 1.25 because I wanted to use this original bolt. So that will go in there. Get mine hole. Just like so. And then let's put this baby back up. So I've got this held in with a couple of screws. And then up here I just utilized the OEM little plastic thingies. A couple more screws and use those wherever I could. But man, these really keep the crap out. Or some would say the crap in. Huh. But anyway, it turned out pretty decent. I don't got the best light. Let's see, I got a flashlight here. Oh, it didn't break and fall off. I think it turned out pretty decent. We got it. I left the bottom open because I want stuff to fall out. I mean, yeah, it'll go in, but that's okay. It'll fall out. But now on to doing the other side. I think I'm going to clearance when I get the shorter bolt. I'm going to clearance right there. Wee bit. Okay, that's backed up. So I started buttoning this up and I was like trying to fasten it around there. I thought, you know, I still gotta change that bolt. Crap. Now I gotta unscrew it again. Let's do it a couple times so we do it right? Alright. Check out these welds here after they've been cleaned up with the wire wheel. So just a tip to myself even, and I know, but I forgot. But you want to crank up the heat just a wee bit in some spots, you know, like so. This one was good. It was enough heat for that, but the those ones were just not quite hot enough on the edges. This one ran all right. A little bit of porosity in there, but yeah, again, for what we're doing. Then I had to grind the back side. Not too bad though. Now, if you don't want to have that little BB, you can obviously use gas, and argon will help. But I use the flux core. Golly! So when you use the flux core, it'll tend to do that quite a bit. And I have this. I keep forgetting. With some anti-spatter. So you have issues with that, you know, you can use something like this, some anti-spatter stuff, and it does work pretty good. I just always forget. And I'm usually in a hurt, you know. So but now I got to cut this off. Cut that off. Measure about how I had the bottom, because I made these pretty much identical, and then weld that on there, and then cap the top, and we'll be getting ready to do the driver's side shortly. So we got a root pass either side. I got it real tight because I wanted it way down in there, right? And then we've got our top little piece. I beveled the edges, right, to try to get a little better, you know, bead in there. I'm not going to bevel this outer piece because I want to have a little more beef to drive it into. Okay, so I went through, tacked each corner. That way it won't pull one way or the other. I usually kitty corner. That's how I tack it. But we got a root pass in there. Again, a lot of spatter from the flux core wire, you know, but and I got that anti-spatter spray. Do you think I used it? No, I still didn't. So I want to do another wide pass. Got a little porosity and a little hole there, but you know, turned out pretty decent. I stopped short right down there when I was running this way. I stopped short so that way I had room to get my cap on. Coming up pretty nice. And another thing, why did I leave it so wide? Well, there's a lot more beef to weld to, right? So now, yeah, I gotta cut it off, but whatever. I'd rather have a little too much than not enough. Okay, so we got the high lift jack, lifting it off the ground. Jack stand, holding her up again. This is pretty exciting. So now, yeah, maybe not for you, but so axle full droop, and look at this bolt. Come on, come on. You hear that air? Doing its job. So you could think I'm some goofy fool that don't do nothing, but you know, we're getting her done. Okay, so now we got a longer bolt, and then my old nylock nut. Come on, I'm gonna put a new one on just because, you know, I've had it on and off a few times, might as well. So all right, about to finish this all up, and then we'll get to the other side. All right, well, thanks for watching.